I'd like to call this meeting of the Villa Park Village Board to order. Today is April 22nd at 7 p.m. Clerk Kornecki, would you call the roll, please?
Trustee Aiello. Trustee Silella.
Here.
Trustee Kazone.
Here.
Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Tucker.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
President Volkus.
Here. Let's all rise for the pledge, and then after the pledge, Trustee Wagner will have a short prayer for us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for Trustee Wagner's prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that might affect the residents, staff, businesses, surrounding communities, and all those that enter the village of Villa Park. And continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Okay, the next item is public comments on agenda items. Clerk Kornecki, did anyone sign up?
Yes, agenda items. Yes, I have
That'd be
people.
items 5 through 8F.
Yes.
Okay.
Wendy Granrath wants to address 7A.
Okay.
My comment for 7A was, I find it very curious that on January 14th, I believe, there was a vote taken to purchase property at 631 East Wildwood Avenue. And at that meeting, we were told that it was going to be used for housing vehicles that the village had. I believe that's public record. And now, all of a sudden, that property is listed as the future home of J.K. Mulch. I'm just curious why that information couldn't be brought to the public before this.
We were in negotiation with AK Mulch at that time. We didn't know where they were going to wind up, even if they were really interested in that the AT&T property at that point. So we were planning on moving our equipment over there and then see what would getting rid of some other properties on Home Avenue. So things were all in flux, so we didn't want to ruin any deal that we might have with AT&T. So.
Okay. I have a question for another agenda item. Like, can I just move to that next agenda item, and then I will be done on my agenda items? My last question on the agenda is regarding 8F, the resolution to renew the village manager's employment contract. I understand he's going from 172 or something like that to about 175, which is a 2.5% increase, which is probably the norm. I would like to know what the other terms of the contract are and what the process for review is for his performance. As a public employee, there should be record and some type of review document that goes into place.
Well, the review was done in an executive session, which we're allowed to do in our executive session where we have employee issues. So we did it, the trustees did it in the executive session when we reviewed his performance.
Where is his actual contract, though?
I believe the contract was on the, it's on the
It is on the
website.
website, which is kind of hard to get to on the new one, but.
Okay.
All right, thank you for now.
Okay. I also have Christine Murphy regarding the same item, 7A.
Okay.
Hello.
Evening.
I'm trustee-elect Christine Murphy from 523 South Yale Avenue. And I have a question regarding 7A as well, and the purchase amount of $2.2 million for the properties. Do we have public access to 3 real estate comparative market analyses that validate the cost of that real estate? And if not, what data was used to make the determination of $2.2 million?
We've had a couple of appraised valuations of that property.
Do we have access to seeing those?
They should be. They should be. So I don't know exactly right now where they are. They're not on the website, are they?
No.
No. So you could FOIA them if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. And it did show that the validation of $2.2 million was an appropriate purchase.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes,
The 2.2 involves businesses as well.
yeah. The 2.2 involves the businesses that are on the corner, the dog groomer and the Cherokee Rose.
Also.
So,
Yeah.
anyone else?
Yes, one more person, Angie Rojek, regarding 7A.
I'm Angie Rojek. I own Pioneer Garden and Feed. I wanted to talk about buying AK mulch. I know that this is part of it is helping with the parking problems that we've been having, so I want to thank you for doing that. My question though is what the plan is for the property, and I'm sure that's going to be part of your discussion. I just want to make sure that's part of the discussion. Because that can't all be for parking. So I just wanted to see what the ultimate plan is for it, and then ultimately then what the plan for Villa Avenue is. What do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be retail and restaurants? Why did an office building go in when you're trying to make it like a walkable downtown? I kind of just wanted to see if that was part of the discussion of the purchase.
Which office building?
1, 2, 3
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
across, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you.
Well, the plan on that is, well, originally is for parking, because we have a parking problem there. But I'm free to tell you, we have had developers interested in buying a stretch along Villa Avenue, but there's nothing really has gone besides just some inquiries.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I guess I should say, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. So just, if developers buy it, just make sure there's enough parking.
It's a big piece. So, and if you do, if after so many years, when those leases are up on those businesses, that, you know, gives you even more space for parking. So, anyone else sign up?
That is the last person.
Anyone else for public comment on agenda items? Okay. With that, we'll move on to amendments to the agenda. Do any of the board members have any amendments? Seeing none, we'll move on to 5A, which is a proclamation recognizing Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the office of municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government, and whereas the office of municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, providing the professional link between citizens, local government bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the office, of the affairs of the office of municipal clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, provincial, country, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of municipal clerk. I therefore, Albert Bolthus, President of Villa Park, do recognize the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2019 as Municipal Clerk Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Hosanna Kornecki, and to all municipal clerks for the vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. This date, 22nd of April 2019. And I too would like to say thank you to our clerk, Kornecki.
Thank you.
Most people do not have any idea how much time and work she puts in. She puts in more work than most of the trustees do, so trying to get all these minutes down right. And everything that we do, she has to sign and put the village seal on it. Takes a tremendous amount of time. So thank you, Clerk Kornecki.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Al, I think the most important thing is she makes us not swear in the meetings.
Especially in executive session, right? So, the next one is the proclamation recognizing Historical Preservation Month and presentation of Historical Preservation Award. Whereas, yes, preservation matters is the theme of the National Preservation Month, co-sponsored by the Villa Park Historical Preservation Commission and the Village of Villa Park, that celebrates and honors the past while looking toward the future. And whereas the Village of Villa Park recognizes and is proud to have 2 national registered properties, nearly 80 buildings that have been historically recognized, and 2 locally designated historical landmark business districts. Whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by individuals who preserve the heritage that has shaped our village and us as people. And whereas historic preservation is an effective tool to revitalize neighborhoods, fostering local pride, maintaining community character, managing growth and sustaining development while enhancing livability. And whereas historical preservation encourages community reinvestment, saving resources and promoting socially and culturally rich communities. I, therefore, Albert Bulthuis, President of Villa Park, proclaim May 29th as Historic Preservation Month and call upon the people of Villa Park to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observation. And with that, we have Carol Marcus here from the Historic Preservation Commission, and she has an award for a preserved home in Villa Park.
Thank you very much. This is the fun time of year for me. It's all across America. We're celebrating our architecture in Villa Park. We really have beautiful homes throughout the whole neighborhood. I want to make some comments on the home that we're plaquing. It's really special to me because I'm too old to be a baby boomer. I'm a war baby. And this home was built in 1947 and was built, this home and other homes by the contractor was built because of returning GIs from World War II. You got to remember, Villa Park has rich history. The GIs were coming back. They had no jobs, no housing because all the house factories were sold for the war effort. And they moved in with their mother-in-laws, their mothers, brothers and sisters. Things were really cramped. So that's kind of one of our peak building periods in Villa Park. The 30s, after every war, is the peak thing. You know, hopefully you calm down on that, but it's really nice. And it's a good example. There's probably about 40 homes built by the same contractor, all of them different. It's not your cookie cutter type of house. It's a very modest brick home, sturdy, right? Very sturdy, and it's really special to me. It's in the south side of Villa Park, and those of you who are long-timers of Villa Park, anything past Madison Street was only sprinkled a little bit with houses. Beyond that, there were still farms. There wasn't anything south of Jackson Street, except more farms and other things. Woolbrook wasn't there. So these homes were exciting. They were brick homes on large lots. 50 foot is a large lot in the 40s, and deep lots too. So people from the city were really flocking to Villa Park, especially to have a brick home, fireproof home, and things like that. So it's kind of great. It's in the subdivision is called Robertson's Madison Street, Ardmore. So, and they were, it's kind of hard to do research on here because they divided it into big lots, acre lots. You know, they wanted to have country homes and things like that. And then they start selling them like crazy. Like, hey, we can make more money if we just chop, you know, make them just smaller. So doing research, you have to do a lot of digging at the county in order to find particular information. Having said that, I'd like to bring up John and Angela Bogarkis, who live on South Summit Avenue, present them with this very special Corvus House, 1947. Thank you. And a certificate. And let me read, I just want to say the present owners are commended for their sensitive preservation and maintenance of important structure that links the past to the future of Villa Park. Congratulations. And it, like I said, was a modest home. It has 3 bedrooms, dining room, living room, kitchen, everything you could possibly need, and they raised 3 lovely girls there. Yeah. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't have my fancy color pictures, but this is...
Yeah. Hey, Carol. Carol?
Oh, for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
This will be at the museum. Also, what are we doing this month? I'm going to be stuffing flyers at the train station. I've done it downtown. We've brought people in from outside to come to Villa Park. It's a walking tour. They've heard a lot of good things because of the age 28 activity. And once they get into Villa Park, they just love it. They love Moore's. They love Angie's Business Pioneer Garden. They love the museum. They love the Prairie Path. So I'm always promoting every time I can get with that. So I just want to thank the board, the manager, everybody I can, Greg, everybody, the police, everybody, because it takes a town to help one another, and I get a lot of help at the museum. And this board is really good for preservation. We got a wonderful refurbished Great Western train station, wonderful path there that brings a lot of people. We have concerts there. The museum, we've had some improvements in our windows, which not appropriately replaced, because it's historic. And the Village Hall is a very attractive building. And so I just want to thank you very much for supporting preservation. And people in this town love their houses, they really do. You don't hear the stories. I'm at the museum all the time, and people come in and they want to know the history of their house and who lived there. And who lives in that house, and let me know if that house ever goes for sale. I should go into real estate, seriously, because I could really sell Villa Park a lot. But I just want to tell the public too that the application for the historical plaque can be downloaded from the website. We've got a very nice, easy to use website, and you could download it. We take applications all year. Takes us sometimes a little bit of time to do research, but sometimes it takes a lot, and we don't mind doing it. Also, I'm going to tell you about the passport program. May 1st, the passport is just what it says it is, a passport. To 70 museums and nature center in DuPage and Kane County. Villa Park is a very popular spot because it has an open washroom. It's our visitor center. It's right on the Prairie Path. You can't help but go in there and peek. The museum has 5 new displays this year, and I put up a wedding dress last night, and I went by there with the lights on, and honest to God, it looked like Christ was rising. I didn't really was. It was kind of spooky, so I had to change the arms because the wedding dress was like that. But stop at the museum. We do have changes over there all the time, and we're fun people too. And then you can do research. We got 3 volunteers that work there, and they're familiar with the archives that we have. We don't have, we're not the county. We don't have your deeds, your titles, anything like that. But we do have pictures of old houses. We have old phone booths and books that we could do reference. And a lot of the old timers there, we know everybody. When you live in town a long time, you know the stories. And sometimes the stories, you have the zip lip, but sometimes they're fun stories. And I always hear a lot of things. So stop at the museum. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's got to be a tough job to pick out houses that do all that research that come up with.
Sometimes it's easy. I used to get a free pass at the title company, but they moved out of Bloomingdale, and now they charge $350 to do the research. This one was a tough one. I spent a lot of time researching because they had, it was in the old, we had some long residents that lived in the house a long time, so we had to go down in the basement with the big heavy plaque books, and that's just a nightmare. So it's 3 days and 3 clerks at the county doing it, and they had to go to lunch, and there's me looking through the records, and nothing's in order. It's all, Hosanna knows that because she's a military, so thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Bogardus. When I first saw the house on my agenda, I couldn't picture, but I went by there and I had to see which one it was, and it's so well maintained. It looks great. So very good. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 5C, which is Environmental Concerns Commission Green Champion Award presentation. I think Justin Schlenke is here from the commission. Schlenke, okay.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Justin Schlenke. I currently serve as the chair of the Environmental Concerns Commission. As a quick aside, it's great to see Pioneer here. Please continue to support our local businesses. Additionally, to Trustee Idle's point, I will try to minimize any swearing that might come out of my mouth. I'm here today to present the 2018 Green Champion Award to a local business for their efforts in contributing to environmental sustainability efforts. WashU Car Wash is a relatively newer business to our community. Nevertheless, they have taken tremendous efforts and strides to cut down on water waste and also conserve energy. And it's a good business model to show that you can be, well, hopefully profitable, which I imagine that they are, but also sustainable, not just financially, but also sustainable in an environmentally conscious way. As a quick plug, please attend the 2019 Spring Sweep, which is May 18th. It's going to be a village-wide recycling extravaganza and a paper shredding event. We are partnering with the Community Pride Commission as well. So again, please attend that. And I'd like to now present the award to the partners or managers, owners of the business, and present them with the 2018 Green Champion Award, and maybe just give them a couple minutes to introduce themselves to the board.
Sure. Today is Earth Day, right?
It is. It's also
Appropriate.
Your birthday?
no,
Earth
Earth
Day.
Day.
Earth Day. Tell us how that works. So.
My name is Michael Timmer. I'm with WashU Car Wash and head of the wash operations in the company. And
my name is Xavier Hernandez. I'm the general manager of the Villa Park Education.
Hi, Craig Nelson. I'm one of the partners of WashU Car Wash.
I am as well. I'm Steve Timmer, and just real quick on yours, we won't take a bunch of your time, but we got into this thing almost 6 years ago to the month. We installed our first, that was the first of its kind in the entire Midwest. Took a huge leap of faith on the water reclamation and went to a level that others had not gone to. And I guess it's kind of, before cool was cool, we got in on it, and it's really the results, and to be able to be here and receive an award like this, we're extremely proud. And a thank you to many of the familiar faces that allowed us to come here. We're approaching our second year, and many of you were all here and voted us through. So thank you very, very much. We enjoy being here in Villa Park.
Thank you for being part of our community. So, thank you.
Do a quick photo. That's all right, Mike. You guys here. You wore green. I wore green.
Which is to you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Okay, we'll move down to item 6A, which is the bill listing for the week of April 15th, 2019, in the amount of $90,786.73, and the minutes from the board meeting held on April 8th, 2019. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda? Trustee Yellow?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Trustee Case?
Second.
No. Any questions? Okay, do you want a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
President Bolkus?
Yes. We'll move down to item number 7. A is the ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a real estate sales contract for the purchase of 100 and 110 South Villa Avenue in the amount of $2.2 million. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The owners agreed to sell the properties located at 100 and 110 South Villa Avenue to the village for $2,200,000. It is in the best interest of the village to purchase this site for additional parking for the South Villa Avenue Business District. The existing property owner would relocate to 631 East Wildwood Avenue. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for the ordinance? Trustee Kazone?
President, I'll make that motion.
Trustee Ciala?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay. I just want to add, this was in process for a couple years. A lot of moving parts. Number of times due to some rumors that went around town, it almost fell apart a few times. So it was a lot of work and a lot of time taken by staff and a lot of discussions by the board on on this, and this finally has come to fruition. So hopefully, sometime within not the immediate future, it'll be turned over for parking. We do have an agreement that the current owner gets to stay there until his busy season is over. So we had that. We had the AT&T property, and we didn't want to lose that. But then we had contingency plans. If this didn't go through, that the village could use it. Maybe AK Mulch could relocate somewhere else in some village-owned property. So there was a lot going on. It was very confusing for some time. And last Wednesday, I think it was, we finally got the final agreement done about 4:45 after a lot of phone calls back and forth with everybody's attorneys. So with that, there's no other questions. We'll have a roll call vote.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Polfus?
Yes.
Al, I want to go back to that question for a minute.
Okay, we already voted.
I realize that.
Okay.
It's just to let people know, they asked the question. The renters on that property, you know this, Angie asked that question. There's a couple renters on the property as the moment. They still have contracts, so they will still be businesses there along with us developing for parking. So you did ask that question. I wanted to make sure that was addressed.
Yeah. They have leases. Leases which we assumed.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay, 7B is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois.
You missed 6B, the minutes to that.
No, we did that all together with the,
That's the consent.
yeah, it was all in the consent agenda, and I did read the minutes. Okay. 7B is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the sale by public auction of surplus vehicles owned by the Village of Villa Park. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Proceeds from the sale of the vehicles will be placed into the Equipment Replacement Fund and will be used to purchase additional equipment. And then there's a list on our website with the agenda, and I'll quickly, Your Honor and Board, read the list into record. The first item is a seized 2006 Chrysler Town and Country. This vehicle is totaled and will be junked at a junkyard for current rate. Number 2 is a seized 2005 Pontiac G6. 3 is a seized 2000 Pontiac Grand Am. Number 4 is a seized 2009 Chevy Malibu. Number 5 is a seized 2010 Harley Davidson Road King. Number 6 is number 7 PW 1997 Ford F450. Number 7 is a number 258 Parks vehicle. It's a 1999 Ford F250. Number 8 is a PW vehicle. Number 11, it's a 97 Ford F350. Number 9 is PW vehicle. Number 5 is a 2003 Ford Crown Vic. Number 10 is PW vehicle number 18, a 2008 Ford Ranger. And number 11 is a Parks 1996 Tri-Wing Mower. Thank you, Your Honor.
We have a motion for the ordinance on sale. Trustee Case?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Wagner? Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Polfus?
Yes. The next item is number 8A, which is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract with Aqua Contractors Corporation of Addison, Illinois, for construction of the Princeton Ave Improvement Project in amount not to exceed $915,000. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Princeton Avenue Improvement Project is proposed in the Village of Villa Park's capital improvement plan. The scope of work of the project includes street improvements, combined sewer separation, partial water main replacement, and selective sanitary sewer repairs on North Princeton Avenue from Elm Street to the Union Pacific Railroad. The project has been awarded a Community Development Block Grant for partial funding for the construction of the combined sewer separation and the water main replacement. Aqua Contractors Corp. of Addison, Illinois submitted the lowest responsible bid for the project in the amount of $915,000. Staff recommends approval of a contract with Aqua Contractors Corp. of Addison, Illinois for construction of this project in the amount not to exceed $915,000. Funds are budgeted for this expense in various accounts in a street improvement, water supply, and wastewater funds account. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Wagner?
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Cielo? I just want to point out that this was in the works for a while. We had done all the analyzing of all the streets in town. We hired a service, went through, and they checked the underlayment underneath what the subsurface was like. The sewer separation was recommended by to our village board based on our comprehensive flood plan and stormwater system plan, the analysis. And the water main replacement was recommended by the Villa Park Master Plan, which we had in effect at this time. So part of this funding would also be 65%, around $400,000 will be paid through a grant, which we've also received approval for. So,
I got a question.
Yes, Trustee Case.
I don't know, Rich, or, is this the first time we ever used these guys?
Yes.
It would be.
Huh?
Excuse me. To answer your question, Trustee Case, yes, this would be the first time that Aqua Contractors works for Villa Park.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable?
We've checked their references.
Okay.
They came back favorably.
Okay.
The county has also approved them, and that's critical given that they have to sign off on Aqua for the grant fund.
Okay.
And so they've given a green light for them to proceed.
Where else have they worked?
We reached out to, I believe, Darien, Elmhurst as well, I believe, Woodridge, a couple other municipalities.
Okay. Good enough.
As always, you know, we put things out for bid. They were the low bidder, and being a unit of government, we have to accept the low bid if the contractor meets the requirements. And we did have a little hold up with the county because they had to okay it too because it's a grant money. But we were going to have this on the agenda a couple weeks back, but we had to hold up until the county said it was okay. So.
The name didn't sound familiar. That's the only reason I was asking.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none.
Quick question.
Trustee Kazon.
The sewer separation in that area, is that the only street that is combined sewers yet?
I believe we have at least one, maybe two more in that area that are still also combined.
There, okay, thank you.
Those are future projects.
You only
That's
have
good.
enough
Thank you.
money to do so many a year. So. Any other questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item 8B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering service agreement with Engineering Enterprises, Inc. of Sugar Grove, Illinois, for Phase 3 construction engineering of the Princeton Ave Improvement Project in the amount not to exceed $88,798. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Engineering Enterprise submitted a proposal to the village to provide Phase 3 construction, engineering services, street and utility improvements for the Princeton Avenue Improvement Project. This resolution approves a contract with Engineering Enterprises for Phase 3 construction services in an amount not to exceed $88,798, which would be taken from the Street Improvement, Water, and Wastewater Fund accounts. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kazone?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Case?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
I have a question. Before I vote. A simple question. Can these two contractors work at the same time?
Yes.
It can be a joint type thing?
Yeah, they
or-
oversee the project. This one here, the one.
So because there's two different sections of this, they can work at the same time?
No, you have the contractor, which we already voted on to do the work. This is the company that's going to make sure they do it right based on specs.
So one's overseeing the other?
Yes, right.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute, just asking me off here. Trustee Case?
Yes.
And President Bolfus?
Yes. Okay, Item 7C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering service agreement with Baxter Woodman, Inc. for Phase 2 design engineering for the Yale Avenue Improvement Project, Plymouth to Ridge, in the amount not to exceed $86,300. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Yale Avenue Improvement Project is proposed in the village's capital improvement plan. The scope of work for the project includes street and water main improvements on North Yale Avenue from Plymouth Street to Ridge Road. The project has been awarded a Community Development Block Grant for the construction of the water main improvements. Engineering design of the project is budgeted in this calendar year 2019, and staff would like to proceed with these design efforts. Approval of an engineering services agreement with Baxter & Woodman, Inc. of Crystal Lake, Illinois for Phase 2 design engineering of this project in an amount not to exceed $86,300 is recommended. Funding for these engineering services would be taken from Street Improvement Fund referendum account number 650203292 and Water Supply Fund account number 825020292. Thank you, Your Honor.
We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Kazone.
I'll second that.
Okay. I just want to add again that this was part of our pavement reconstruction that was recommended by the evaluation of our pavement that we did in 2013. And the water main replacement is recommended by the Village Water Repair Master Plan. So, any other questions? Trustees Ayala.
I misheard, it was 8C, correct?
8C.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
Did I say something wrong?
No, I heard wrong. And I wanted to make sure the record reflected.
Okay.
But I heard it wrong.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Yes, Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Silella?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
President Volpes?
Yes. 8D is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing the budgeted purchase of playground equipment for the Willowbrook Park in the amount not to exceed $69,999. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Willowbrook Park Playground must be removed as part of the Jackson Pond Improvement Project. The current playground has been in use since 2000 and is over 19 years old. Plans from the Parks and Recreational Master Plan call for replacement of the playground, and this purchase is the first step in the park renovation process. With the support of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, who unanimously supported the playground's replacement, it is recommended that the playground equipment be purchased from Team Real of Union, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $69,999. This purchase is budgeted in the NESDRA account number 3450202299. Thank you, Your Honor.
We have a motion for the resolution. Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Ello.
Second.
Again, this is from our Parks Recreation Master Plan, which the board voted on. We adopted in 2015. So, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to know, I read the memo, how far is the park being relocated from its current location?
Because everybody knows that area is under construction there for the overflow from the pond. So some of the equipment there is going to be repurposed.
It'll be on the west side of the sidewalk, just away from the trees and away from the houses, just south of the houses. There's an open space that'll fit.
And just one more question. Do we know how much usage that park gets in relation to other parks?
We don't have an active count.
Okay.
We do. I've had some comments from the area residents. One being a parent with special needs, and him and his buddies use the park quite often, and we've got some different equipment going in. So she's very happy.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Did I read that right? It's going to have a zip line?
Two, yes.
Oh,
2 zip lines.
Okay.
Decided to do something a little different.
Yeah. Very good. Any other questions?
How much
Tucker?
acreage is it taking? How much spot is it taking? Because it looks, from the drawing, looks like it's a lot.
There's
how
square
much
footage,
square footage are we actually putting together?
Ground space is 46 by 63, but we'll have it bigger than that. I mean, that's ground space that we're measuring for the playground.
And are we putting a border in?
Yes.
this will have a border, correct, around the space?
Anything else, trustee?
I just wonder why we didn't just make it a nice 70,000.
That's what the Brett bid was.
And we have to go with that bid. It's just curious why you didn't round it to just the nice.
You gave us quite a few discounts.
Okay.
Just the way.
Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. 8E is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the fees for the village's swimming pool in 2019. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Pool pass rates must be finalized by a resolution and approved by the Board of Trustees. It is recommended with support of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission that there be no fee increase for the 2019 swim season. The recommended rates are as follows. So the early bird rates would be May 1st through June 21st. Residents age 3 to 59 would be $53. There are no non-resident early bird rates. Resident senior age 60 plus would be $48. The regular season rates beginning June 22nd would be residents ages 3 to 59 to be $72. Non-resident ages 3 to 59 would be $99. Resident senior age 60 plus $64. Non-resident age 60 plus $92. The daily admission fees are recommended to be $7 for residents ages 3 and older and $9 for non-residents ages 3 and older. The evening discount fee will be $5 for residents and $7 for non-residents beginning at 5 p.m. The daily admission rates recommended for 2019 are the same as they were in 2018. These fees are comparable with neighboring communities with similar aquatic facilities. Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Yellow?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Trustee Tucker? Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Tucker?
I just want them to get an opportunity that the reason why we extended it to the 21st, June 21st. That was something that was an issue with the advisory board, and I think everybody should know what they're.
Yes, normally the early bird ends normally the first or second weekend in June. The Park and Recreation Advisory Commission asked that we extend it to the first day of summer to give residents a little bit more time to come in and get that discount rate.
That's with something to do with the school?
District 48 is under construction, or was under construction, so they started later, and their kids are in school a couple weeks into June, so they will not get to use the pool to its fullest capacity while they're still in school. So that was the other reason.
Anything
Thank
else?
you. Yes, that was.
Anybody else? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item 8F is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the village manager's employment contract. Do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Kazone?
Mr. President, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Ciala? Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
No.
Trustee Aiello?
No.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. With that, we'll move on to item 9, which is public comment on non-agenda items. Has anyone signed up? Ms. Clerk?
I have somebody, yes. We have for non-agenda, Joe Amori, regarding the Metro Station.
Hi, good evening. I'm Joe Amori. I live at 309 East Maple Street. Lived in Villa Park since 1989. This issue is for putting in a pedestrian underpass at the Villa Park Metro Station. I'm a member of the DuPage Rail Safety Council. Its members meet monthly and are comprised of concerned citizens, governmental, labor, industry, and regulatory officials who volunteer their time and effort to eliminate railway-related fatalities. Today, I sent an email to Lisa Stark, the Union Pacific Government Affairs Officer, to inform her of this issue. Union Pacific owns the tracks there, and it's a heavily used route. So nothing can be done without their guidance. In the email I wrote, "Good morning, Lisa. My name is Joel Morey. I am a member of the DuPage Rail Safety Council, a retired UP conductor and resident of Villa Park. There is a critical need of a pedestrian underpass at the Villa Park Metro Station. Villa Park was not included in stations receiving funding for an underpass when Metro's West Line Improvement Project was developed and implemented years ago. Passengers and pedestrians are increasingly put at risk now that freight trains are built longer and delayed or stopped at the Ardmore Avenue crossing. Funding sources cannot be developed unless costs are identified first. Federal, state, and other funding opportunities need UP's cooperation in establishing a baseline as to what UP will require to put in a pedestrian underpass on this heavily used route. Budgets are now under consideration. The process cannot begin without your help. Please call me. I gave her my phone number. Respond by email so that we may proceed with this vital project. Thank you for cooperation." Got extra copies for the board members. Position. Although I cannot officially speak for any of the involved parties, I will do whatever is possible to bring them together. I also invite all interested parties to join me at the next DuPage Rail Safety Council meeting, Saturday, May 18th, 2019, from 8:30 to 10:30 at Adventist Hospital in Hinsdale, to meet and network with others who will help get this project completed. Understand that the May 18th is also the Environmental Concerns Recycling Day, and they're very attentive to their schedule. When the meeting is scheduled at 10:30, it ends at 10:30. So if you can't make it that meeting, you would be again at the same location. Always the Saturday, I believe it's the third Saturday of each month, so it'll be a June meeting. And if you just go on their website, drsc.org, you'll be able to find out more complete information. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for doing that. So we'll hope for the best. So. Anyone else?
Yes, I have Terry Wolf signed up.
Sure.
My name is Terry Wolf. I'm here to speak about some of my FOIA requests recently, the responses from the village, and the manner in which the village has been conducting business, which I feel is inappropriate. I prepared my statements to try to keep myself on track and to refrain from making any derogatory comments, which I regret making in past meetings. On April 8th, 2019, after the board meeting, I submitted a FOIA request stating, "Please provide the bid advertisement and bid opening results for the Lufkin Pool demolition bid." After 4 days, on April 12th, 2019, the village requested an extension of 5 days. My response was that I do not believe my request and your reason for not supplying the requested information qualifies under the limited reasons for a 5-day extension per 5 Illinois C 4- the code. And I kindly request that the Village of Villa Park fulfill my request in the initial 5 days as required by law. They did comply. The next business day, the village fulfilled the FOIA request by indicating that no such records exist. Clearly, that was strange that they asked for a request for extension and then followed up the very next day with an answer of no such records exist. The response was as such. The resolution as approved stated that whereas Section 2-220A3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code provides an exemption from bidding requirements for contracts where the corporate authorities by a 2/3 affirmative vote waive the requirements of open and competitive bidding. I'm shocked that the Village of Villa Park staff and elected officials think that foregoing an open and competitive bidding process is in the best interest of our taxpayers and our tax dollars. You are likely spending significant additional taxpayer dollars by doing this. President Bolthus himself at the April 8th, 2019 meeting delivered a somewhat of a soapbox speech about the poor financial position that the village is in. This is not responsible government. Further, in a memo dated February 20 from Greg Golick to Rich Keener, February 20, 2018, from Greg Gola to Rich Keener, it states, staff have received 3 bids for demolition and the lowest responsible bidder was submitted by American Demolition Corporation. Obviously, that was over a year ago, and we know that a new proposal was received. On April 17th, I submitted an additional FOIA request to follow up on my original one. I requested that any and all correspondence, emails, text messages, or letters that were used for, relied upon, or related to the solicitation and acceptance of any and all proposals, bids, or quotes to or from the Village of Villa Park staff, agents, trustees, or officials related to the Lufkin Pool demolition proposal be provided. On April 19th, 2019, I received a response from the Village FOIA officer that my request was approved and the status of the FOIA request number was updated to the full release. I was told that the memo discussing the demolition of Lufkin Pool from Director Gola is available on the website. I was provided a link and told that, in fact, the documents presented to the board are also found at the link above. This will provide all records that were cited or identified during the board meeting held on February 26, 2018. I'm not sure what that had to do with my request, and I'm quite certain that that singular document did not cover and encompass everything I asked for in that request. Fortunately, as your response states, I have 60 days to follow up with the Public Access Counselor at the Attorney General's office. Also on April 17, 2019, I submitted a FOIA to please provide the meeting minutes that indicate who and or when what authorization was given by the Board of Trustees per Section 2-220A3 of the Villa Park Municipal Code, which provides the exemption from the bidding requirements for contracts where the corporate authorities by 2/3 affirmative vote waive the requirements of open and competitive bidding for the Lufkin Pool proposal. I received a response and told that no such record exists because the April 8th, 2019 meeting minutes haven't been approved yet. So I looked earlier, I didn't see the minutes posted, I may have missed that. I was surprised I didn't even see it was listed as minutes for approval tonight, so I'm glad that those minutes were approved, and I'll certainly have to look at those later. But what struck me in all the aforementioned information is first the serious lack of consistency and transparency in how the village conducts business. Sometimes you request a quote for demolition, or who knows what else, you might get just a $77,000 proposal for it and you just approve it. How do you know that's the best price? How do you know you're doing well with the taxpayer dollars? You don't have any clue if that same work could be done for $50,000. You don't know that because you haven't gone through an open and competitive bidding process. You're wasting our tax dollars. I'm sure that you've seen an open bid. Sometimes the bids, and probably some of the ones that were looked at tonight, can range several $100,000 in any direction. What would lead you to believe that this would be any different? So again, I just don't think that there's being open and clear evidence of good government here. Secondly, I think the village has clearly provided me documentation that there was not an open and competitive bid process for the Lufkin Pool bid, even though the resolution that was read aloud on April 8th, at the April 8th, 2019 meeting, falsely indicated that 3 proposals were solicited, which even if they were, it still wouldn't be open and competitive bidding, that would just be 3 proposals. On the opening of the resolution for the vote of 4-3 that happened in the demolition of, or the resolution to approve the Lufkin Pool bid. But I'll point out that that 4-3 vote is not enough because that's not 2/3 of the corporate authorities. So I don't know how that was a binding vote. You didn't have a selective bidding process. You didn't have a competitive bidding process, which meant you had to have the 2/3 vote of the board to approve it. You didn't get the 2/3 vote because it was 3-7, which is 57%, less than the 66%. So I question how that vote was valid and how that construction demolition contract could be executed. If you have something to the contrary, then I kindly ask that you provide it. However, then you've failed with your requirement to comply with the Freedom of Information Act. So either way, it'd be interesting to see the information. I want to state that I'm here as a taxpayer, and I'm here on behalf of all taxpayers, and even those who want to see Lufkin Pool demolished, because this is not a Lufkin Pool issue, and I am not here for the Lufkin Pool Save Lufkin Pool group. I am pleading with you to be good stewards of our tax dollars. Please require open and competitive bidding for all construction and demolition projects that exceed Manager Keener's $20,000 spending authority. Please proceed with your desired plans to demolish Lufkin Pool as planned, but please do so by first putting it out to competitive bid so that we can assure the residents of this community that you have it in their best interest and actually are concerned about the finances of our district and of our village, and put it out to competitive bid so that we know we're paying a fair price. Please do this for our community. Please be more open and transparent and responsible with our tax dollars. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, I've still one more. Wendy Granrath, on agenda.
Good evening. I'm here representing the Save Lufkin Park Advocates Group to tell you our thoughts about your decision at that last board meeting to vote to demolish Lufkin Pool. This will probably be the last time I'll be addressing this forum. Firstly, we looked at the vote totals for the referendum, and we've concluded that the referendum didn't receive a majority because of the low support in the precincts that were north of St. Charles Road, where it received only 32% of support for the referendum. In the precincts south of St. Charles, they received 53% in the central area, and the southernmost precincts around the pool received 59% support. So our feeling is you voted to demolish Lufkin Pool based on the referendum results, whose results were determined by just one data point, that voters on the north side of the city overwhelmingly did not want to support $1 million tax increase to fix the pool. $1 million price tag, which we all know was way too much for the repairs that were needed. Secondly, I'd like to mention or respond from one of the comments by the trustees last week or 2 weeks ago at the April 8th meeting regarding our failure to fundraise. We had a very challenging time fundraising. First of all, demolition was hanging over our heads the entire time we were fundraising, which doesn't exactly instill confidence in donors. There were many residents who supported Saving Lufkin Pool that told us the following reasons for them not contributing at that point in time. They thought the board was going to demolish the pool even if they did donate money. They thought the board would not use the money to fund pool repairs if they gave a donation. And they thought that the residents should not have to fund repairs if the village had the money to make repairs, which you did at that point in time prior to all your recent land acquisitions. Thirdly, you voted to demolish Lufkin Pool based on the referendum results. Oh, excuse me, wrong place. Regarding the fundraising. Then it became known in December of 2018 that there should be a referendum that residents did not want to donate money, and they also be taxed via a referendum to fix the pools. We also wanted to point out, using your data, that the operation of Lufkin Pool, in addition to Jefferson Pool, likely made money for the village when compared to the operating cost solely of Jefferson Pool. So, you voted to demolish an amenity a good portion of the village used, they wanted, and that at the worst even broke even in terms of operating profit or loss. Since the pools are such a drain to our city finances, and we've heard what dire straits we're in from the president regarding pensions in the near future, perhaps we should just cut our losses, as the term you used for Lufkin, and maybe we should just close Jefferson. It's a 60-year-old pool. Why should we dump any more money into it? We're in such dire financial straits. Lastly, with regards to the demolition vote on April 8th, our organization believed that it was wrong of the board to move that demolition vote from June, which was originally agreed to. Many residents feel the board had broken their word, and they find it more difficult to trust the board in the future. A big point was that the feasibility study was not completed by April 8th and was one of the reasons the vote was going to be held in June, to get that input that was paid for with taxpayer dollars. Moving up the timing of the meeting and not allowing the new trustees to vote on this issue, that denies their voice and the voices of the people who elected them by a substantial majority. The trustees won a majority in every precinct in Villa Park. The residents want the new trustees to be their voice. Voting to demolish Lufkin Pool was the wrong decision by this board. Time will tell the long-term consequences to the board and to the village. We do know that residents will remember what happened with the Lufkin demolition, and it will have a long-term effect on Villa Park. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, I don't.
Anyone else? Yes. Please state your name again for the record.
Justin Shlinsky, 436 Fulton Ave. It's come to my attention that Elmhurst is currently taking under consideration a development project at the northwest corner of St. Charles and Route 83. Currently near Crave and the Burger Place. Now it's closed, and I believe Crave is not closed as well. It's my understanding that the proposed development plan is actually a 16-lane gas station on that corner. Due to its proximity with Salt Creek, and the fact that it could very well potentially have detrimental effects in the event of a spillover into the village of Villa Park. But the commission, Environmental Concerns Commission, has discussed this as of the last meeting. We feel that it would be detrimental to the community at large to have that development project go through, even though we don't have any say as to what happens in the city of Elmhurst. My understanding is that Manager Keener attended a meeting recently and voiced his opposition, or was there for Fat Gap, and also voiced his opposition to that. So I thank you for your voice in that. We are opposed as a commission to any development project that would be a gas station or something that could have detrimental environmental effects to Salt Creek and the community. So thank you for representing our interests. And I hope that we will continue to receive updates from Manager Keener, Trustee Wagner, our liaison, for updates accordingly. So thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, the manager did attend. I've been trying to get hold of the mayor of Elmhurst. He hasn't returned my calls. So, okay. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move down to the clerk's report.
I have no report tonight.
What? Trustee report. We'll start on the right, Trustee Cielo.
I'd just like to remind everybody about Easter Seals DFVR, which is located at 830 South Addison Road. This coming, May 4th, we're having our 16th annual Run for the Kids Superhero Shuffle. It's a 5K run, walk. All ability skill levels are welcome. You don't necessarily have to run. You can walk or wheelchair or whatever means of transportation you have. We're located, again, at 830 South Addison Avenue. There is a registration check-in at 7:30 to 8:15 a.m. The race starts at 9 a.m. After the race, there's fresh grilled food, kids dash, face painting, live music, photo booth. There is some pre-registrations available online. If not, same-day registration is available. That's all I have.
Trustee Kazone?
Just one thing, Community Pride Commission is meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock up here in our offices over here. If anyone is interested in being on the Community Pride Commission, we're always looking for commissioners.
Trustee Case?
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Allen?
Hello?
Hey, hello.
It's been so while.
That's it.
All right,
Over
so
there.
this is the last time I get to do this, so I have one thing. It's Dave Silella.
My tongue just doesn't work that way.
And it's Al Baltis.
Depends.
Unless you're from the south side of South Holland, it might be Baltice.
That's right. Depends on where you're from.
That's all I got. No,
Okay.
nothing to report. Thanks for asking.
Trustee Tucker. I can say that one.
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, President Polfus. I just have a couple things. First of all, I wanted to thank Carol Marcus for all the work that she does for the Historical Preservation Commission. I got Whistle Stop from the museum group, and just wonderful articles in there, and I thank you for what you do, and the folks in the museum as well. It's really a gem in the town, so thanks again. I want to let folks know that the Garden Club of Villa Park will have a meeting on Tuesday, April 23rd at the Community Rec Building. They'll have a speaker on prairie plants in your landscape. Should be an interesting program. And then I mentioned before the Garden Club annual plant sale is scheduled for May 3rd and 4th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the new location will be the pavilion adjacent to the museum. Also wanted to mention that this coming weekend will be the Prairie Path Cleanup conducted by the Village Pride Commission. That'll be this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. And as mentioned before, Village Pride and Environmental Concerns are partnering on the spring cleanup. That will be April 18th from 9 a.m. to noon along Home Avenue. And as mentioned before, lots of items that will be collected, paper shredding, electronics collection, along with many, many other items. And lastly, I wanted to mention that the Villa Park Junior Women's Club will be holding their major fundraiser, their annual spring fundraiser, on Saturday, May 4th. And this will be held at Demito's Saloon, and I think that goes from 6 p.m. until whenever. So, and this is how they fund their scholarships for Willowbrook students. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add. I left the trustees do most of the announcements. So, Manager Keener, do you have a report?
Your Honor, just have one item. I'm sure folks in the audience and at home have probably seen NICOR throughout our community. So, NICOR right now has a improvement initiative called Investing in Illinois. And in 2019, NICOR expects to replace approximately 135 miles of natural gas main and more than 15,000 natural gas service lines. So if you'd like some information, you can go on the web, and it's nicorgas.com/workingyourneighborhood. But for spring and summer, they'll be in all of our neighborhoods, and they've really started on Ardmore and some other areas as well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. How do you say your name?
So, I refuse to
Aiello?
adjourn unless you say it right.
Okay. Aiello, do we have a second? Trustee Kazone?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
With that, we're adjourned. We'll be here on Monday, May 6th at 7 o'clock. It's different than normal. So.
Hey, Rich, I think